Welcome to Journeys into Enlightenment with Janet. Join Janet and her friends as they gather at the intersection of consciousness and self-experience, what being consciousness in human form is all about. Access heart-centered awareness with them and feel the difference in the moment that will last a lifetime.
Hello, and welcome to Journeys into Enlightenment with Janet. I'm your host, Janet Barrett. It is my pleasure to share with you the wonder one can find in being alive and being part of a connection with the all as consciousness. I offer you a container of expansive time and space to experience in being effortless and open to the opportunities and potential that exist within. This is what we celebrate and extend to you. Let these next moments be your magic carpet ride into the world within you and beyond. Today's episode is Consciousness and the Web of Life with my new friend and shared old soul, Joanne Connolly DVM. Life is a transcendent state, weaving together many forms of expression. Whether it be earth, animal, or human, all life, past, present, and future, resides together in consciousness, no one thing separate. Together, she and I will contemplate this shared state with wisdom gained from our past and present pets and nature. How being aware of this web of life, we can take better care of ourselves and be better stewards of all living creatures and our unique home planet Earth. We have animals we consider pets, and we live among wildlife. Together, we are all animals in territorial stress. We are all looking to be in territorial harmony. Nature does this inherently when we, the human animal, does not trifle and interfere to the degree we currently are exhibiting. By definition, a pet is any domesticated or tamed animal that is kept as a companion and cared for affectionately. Wildlife is living animals, and especially mammals, birds, and fishes that are neither human nor domesticated. A challenge can arise when some look to make wildlife into being pets, which is always precarious footing for the human. Wildlife does not necessarily play by the same rules. Human animals tend to think in terms of ownership. We claim things, be them people, animals, or land. Animals do this to a much lesser degree, using strength instead of strength and coin. All animals are involved in territorial boundaries. In our web of life or oneness reality, we have shifted from our ideas as owners to being stewards of this planet and all present. And it is not one-sided. Nature shares so much with us in return, like it feeds us all. Stewards look after and care for those around them. I am steward of my animal companions and the nature I find around me. I don't own them, though I may have bought them. I invite them home with me. Think of it as foster care. I have great respect and awe for animal communicators and nature communicators. They hold awareness at levels that not all of us do. Or maybe they hold awareness that many of us do, but do not appreciate in ourselves. And I'm not talking about people who project their stuff, wants and needs onto their pets, which is often the case. I'm talking about those who value the wisdom that is the animal or tree in form, the shared community that we are all in, but in different forms. Joanne combines both forms of communication in her being. She grew up in Canada and graduated from veterinary school at the University of Montreal in 2001. During her senior year of veterinary school, she completed several externships in highly reputable schools such as Cornell University, Tufts, Colorado, and Oregon State universities. She was one of the very few selected for a year-long internship in small animal medicine, surgery, and emergency at Michigan Veterinary Specialists, which she proudly completed. She published a scientific and clinical study in the British Journal of Small Animal Practice. After helping her beloved dog Haley transition into the afterlife in 2007 in the comfort of home, she was guided to create Haley's Angels Veterinary Services, the first home euthanasia service for pets in southern Arizona, which she felt was Haley's legacy. Dr. Joanne has specialized in end-of-life care and counseling for the past 12 years. She has helped over 10,000 families find peace and closure regarding their pets' illnesses and passing. She promotes intuitive medicine for the mind, body, and soul. She guides families into tuning in with their pets and themselves, nature, and the universe to make better, fair, and personalized medical decisions, prevent diseases and accidents, speed up healing, and allow for a peaceful and dignified passing. Better living and better dying for all, she says. She is vegan, and her life purpose is to inspire all animals and humans to live in balance as one with the web of life. She teaches to reconnect with the source, to awaken our dormant powers and passions, and follow our life mission. She dreams that everyone be kind and gently walk the earth with care and compassion. Dr. Joanne published her first book, Animals Teachings from Haley's Angel Methods, which is available on Amazon and also on her website, www.haleysangels.com. She is currently writing her second book. With her husband, she rescues many animals of all kinds, lives as sustainably as possible, and has held 7 Compassion Fest events over the years to promote caring for all animals, humans, and our planet in both the United States and Canada. She currently lives in Florida, USA. You can feel how she walks lightly. Oh, this is going to be a special time. I can see this already. Joanne, did I say that right? That French pronunciation?
Perfect.
Oh, good. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. We're going to have fun and magic, I think we were talking about before. Let me just take a couple of moments for everyone may bring us all together in case we've drifted someplace else. And then we'll do the run of this. So let's see what shows up, everyone. So just breathe and relax. Feel your heartbeat. 2 things happening at once among all the other things that'll happen in a living creature. There we go. And just notice our field opening up, our awareness of the field. Field is always there. It's just how we relate to it. And Joanne is in Florida right now. I'm in Portland, Oregon, and Boyd, our sound engineer's in Kansas. So we've got a pretty good spread here of the collective with all of you in it. So just notice. And we want to consider energies that are present in our lives now, that were present in the past, and energies that'll be present in our futures, because we will explore how all that is just relative to how you hold it. There we go. We got some shifting going on. How are you doing, Joanne? What are you noticing right now?
I'm feeling wonderful. I'm feeling whole and one, as my name states it, with the web of life. It's all coming together.
Oh, good. All righty. Well, it is all together, isn't it? Except for where we think it's not. That seems to be about the way this works, I think. So, what do we want to talk about today? Your background is strong in working with energies that have passed over, that are still present in animal form. The world as a totality, living, breathing instrument. And What is it that about that you've come to notice that makes you who you are? How is that in this world today for you?
We are completely all connected, so we need to work together to heal, to live, and to die. So what's sad in this world is that we tend to divide everything and look for answers in our brains, but we forget the heart, we forget the source. And so I went through, regular veterinary schooling, which obviously is amazing and needed to understand the physical body, but there is so much more. So the animals have been my best teachers to reconnect me with the source, and really making me aware of all the different levels that we need, all of us, to be aware of to live better, heal, and then die better. So
and that is a part of what we call life, right? We have to develop this comfort. There is no any elephant we ever meet anymore in the room we need to love and acknowledge as part of who we are, that perhaps we put into some kind of, I don't want to go there, or resistance. But death is going to happen on all levels. And so you're noticing it from perspective that in the state of oneness, it's all about wholeness. And that's pretty much the way I hold it. So
I was blessed with a wonderful teacher named Haley, and she was a Rottweiler that my husband had rescued before I came along, and so she allowed me to join the family. She wasn't sure at first; she could smell the veterinarian, but then she she gifted me with a lot of wisdom, and she died in the process. She was 14, she was an old girl, but when she died, I was able to help her pass at home because I'm a veterinarian. I was able to bring the medications home to euthanize her because she was suffering and she couldn't let go on her own. So after we were able to gift her with this at home comfortably, she started bringing families to me. So people started reaching out to me to receive the same care. And that's how I ended up starting this home euthanasia service called Haley's Angels Veterinary Services. And I was very scared. I didn't know what I was doing. This was all new to me, but I felt the strong guidance from her, and I had to just tell myself, okay, I might be crazy here, but it feels like it's healing me, and it feels like it's a loving service, and I'm just going to go for it because I could not look away at everything, all the signs, synchronicities in life. If I tried to brush it off, it kept coming back because that's how we are all one. So I asked Haley to keep me safe and guide me so I could do a good job and I could bring healing to families. And 12 years later, over 10,000 families later, who I've had the blessing of helping and who I've learned so much from, I had to share in a book so other people and animals can benefit from the same wisdom. And writing a book was not something I was really planning on. And again, I felt like, this is so overwhelming. I don't know anything about this. So obviously, in a matter of about 2 months, I helped 5 authors with the in-home euthanasia service. And I never know typically what the pet owner does for living, but it came up in those 5 instances because I needed to learn and I needed teachers. So the universe made sure that they communicated with me some of their pearls of wisdom and how to go about it. And so by the 5th author, I felt like my energy level had risen to this place where, okay, I feel like I have something to share. I can do my best and jump off the cliff again, another cliff that you just have to hope your wings will keep you flying. And obviously the wings always appear and they keep you flying. So and then
go ahead.
That's when that whale energy really wrapped around me when I started writing the book and put it all together. I felt the whales around me supporting me and holding me, because the whales are really the animal that holds the world's consciousness together, and they're there to make us feel at home. And as our energies are shifting and rising, it's very destabilizing, but it's a huge spiritual growth and enlightenment. So I had some pictures of whales, and I started seeing whales in different places in my life, and I would just like close my eyes and meditate, like swim with the whales, and I felt so empowered and guided that they were there for me. And even now, once in a while, when I feel again like I'm rising to a new level, they're there to hold me and tell me that it's going to be okay.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot, right? Everyone listening, just feel all that. My question first is, this experience happened to you, let's say, I don't know how old you are, but your relation with Haley, for instance, was after you'd been to school and were working with animals and stuff, from, if I'm recalling correctly. Yep. So to share with us, you had to have awareness sometime before. If it wasn't coming from a religious doctrine or a particular, if it was coming from science, how were you noticing your intuitive sense? Was it always there, this connected feeling, or was it brought into focus with your experience with Haley?
We were born, all of us were born with intuition. And when you talk to children, they're so pure and connected. They just came from the other side. And
they frighten us, don't they?
Mm-hmm. And they know a lot of stuff that you're like, wow, when they talk to you about their past life, and it's just so vivid because they were there not long ago. So unfortunately, the modern society, the way we fast pace of living, it snaps us right out of it. It disconnects us from the source. Mm-hmm. So I was disconnected, although when I was a child, animals were always my best friends. I was a middle child and often left alone, spend time outside, and I would just let the ants crawl on my arms, and it was really soothing to me. I was always the one to save the bugs, and I'm still saving every little spider that comes in the house, and I have my little container and little piece of cardboard, and I just grab them and send them outside. So this was always me. But of course, in order to go through, school and vet school, and then I needed to incarnate in the matter more, really embrace this physical experience. But we ended up, so I met Haley and my husband right after vet school 18 years ago. And we ended up moving to Arizona from the Northeast, where we had met and we came from. And Arizona was really divine just by its energy and the large skies and the tall mountains. And it really helped me reconnect with my life purpose. And that's when Haley passed 12 years ago. And it just all came back to bring me to my true path, and I became vegan. It all really hit me kind of all at once when Haley died, and I'm really grateful. Of course, it was this super sad, and I was devastated, and I didn't know if I was going to even survive. You just you're so lost when you lose a loved one. But then the gifts started coming, and you have to do the best you can to see, well, what more can I do in this life to help? And so it's a journey that never ends. I think there's so many life chapters in our life, and it's really helpful to see it that way. When a life chapter ends, you have to let it end. And yes, it's sad, and some animals die or loved ones die in the process, but it brings you to a new life chapter, and you grow, and you have to keep growing, because if you stagnate in a life chapter that needs to end, it's not good. That's when you'll get sick. That's when you'll feel like you're stagnating, you're not happy. And
well, you're mentioning many considerations that we've been exploring on this podcast, and one was about dying, and that if you can look at it in terms of whoever is passing is in their reality and is in their design. We are in our design, and we may be thinking it's more about us and us being left and or abandoned or something, when it's really about that we're each on our journey of enlightenment. We have had this incredible time together, and that is just part of the journey, the totality of it. And so as those chapters open and close like you're talking about, I think what's really helpful is to appreciate that how needy or missing or is coming probably more from our awareness, and certainly working with animals who I've done friends who are animal communicators and do that. And it's like the animal is always there to help support us. And the part that they serve in being present to witness for us and to be the support that doesn't question us, and that is so often a part of what we have a sense of loss about. And it's really to the beauty of whatever animal that we're assigning that to and sharing in that, is that they have done what you have come together to do for that period of time. Do you find that more opening for people?
Exactly. I mean, people, we do talk a lot about the life mission that is done for an animal. And I see it so often, and I talk about it in my book. Someone is pregnant, about to give birth. Well, the dog who's been there for 12 years, that's the perfect timing. The baby is born, the dog dies, and it's just recognizing that, yes, that's the flow, and we need to follow that flow, and it's okay. And it's, of course, it's sad, it's happy, it's everything at once, but we are all connected. And as you become more aware of all the planes, you remember some of your past lives. And so I talk a lot with people about, animals that we've been before, humans, different life forms that we've been and before, and with our animals too. A lot of people share with me, oh yeah, this dog came to me. This is not his first life with me. This is our second or third, or some people will keep naming them, giving them the same name. So it's really fascinating, and it's really healing, because then when somebody dies, it's not the end. It's just we're going to see each other because we keep coming back. We keep meeting, whether it's on this earth or in the spiritual world without our bodies. But we find each other, and we reconnect. We recognize each other.
I think that has, in consciousness technologies, you're probably describing what we call morphic resonance in quantum physics, is that how like to like, wherever like is, are connected. So like can be, we tend to think, okay, genetic material has to be the same, and that's okay, me here, you there, and we connect, right? And we can track each other, we can relate to each other. Well, it doesn't matter if you're physically somewhere on the planet or if you've passed out of your form and you're hanging around somewhere. There's still that connection. And I think too often we're so short-sighted, but with, okay, they're not here. And yes, they are, because it's not only your hands. When you look at your hands and you see your hands and you see the reality of your hands, in this work, you're looking at how the space between your hands, what you can't see, is as real. And when you don't need a form for presentation, you can just be at your essence level. It's just a opening of a different experience and relation for each of us. And I think that's what you're bridging, is how life is life, whether it's in body or out of body. The essence of what that connection was about is still present. And you don't really have to go into karma or any of those kind of belief systems and setups. You just have to be open to that. In consciousness, time and space are malleable, and what you think of as being on this planet and in this day-to-day reality and the set of time is really quite different when you're looking at from within on that essence, the infinite, whatever your language is you want to use level. That doesn't really have matter. So that's why you can, okay, in the past you had a relation here, and now in the present you have the relation here. You can also go, oh, it might be there in the future too, and it's all happening all at the same time. And that's what I enjoy about consciousness and looking at it that way, as opposed to the hard, fast, stuck, solid, got to see it, got to make it real kind of logic, that kind of concrete logic.
And all of this helps us also heal from diseases, because when the energies shift, it doesn't take much, and the body responds and follows. We just, you make a better decision about something, or you can prevent accidents and diseases by being aware and not going out of balance, by listening to what the web of life is teaching you. And so I've had so many experiences, and sometimes, they're painful. I almost got bit by a rattlesnake once because I was just not in the healthy place mentally, And animals are there to pick up on those things and bring you right back on to balance.
Make you present. Yeah, they make you present. Right. Yeah. Definitely. Yep. So you call that consciousness and that energy as the web of life, which is just a lovely way to look at that. Yes, it is the web of life. One thing you also mentioned was about whale consciousness, and our friend Ann Gordon, who's a whale dolphin expert and runs tours on connecting with whales as consciousness, and she has her own thing. And what I saw when you said how the whales were holding the consciousness was that in their migration, that maybe in all the web of life of all these animals and species that migrate, maybe what they're doing is networking, spreading that energy out. So they go to balance. They go here to do this. They go here to do that. We're fascinated. Then why would they have to go there to do that? And we can go, oh yeah, the water's warmer or the water's cold. But it might be maybe this interconnectedness, this web of life you're talking about. What about that idea?
Completely, I agree. They are the old souls. I think they are the oldest souls, and they are sharing their wisdom. And you have the dolphins that are the playful ones, and they keep us connected with our inner child. And you need that energy too. But so every animal, I think, has an energy to bring. The turtles keep us on track of our true path, slowly but surely. And it's that loner energy of don't forget yourself. In this big web of life, as you are sharing and helping others, don't forget to take care of yourself. And I felt the turtle energy after I was done writing the book, because I felt so spread out. I needed to regroup my energy, and I felt like, and it was the most amazing thing, because my birthday was just around the corner. So a good friend of mine who's very intuitive herself, so she brings me that present, and she says before she lets me open it, okay, I don't know why I bought you this. If you don't like it, that's fine, but I had to buy it. Again, like, I might be crazy, but here it is. So I open it, and it's a big, nice decorative plate of a sea turtle. And I hadn't shared anybody this turtle energy. That was just me, focusing on me. And I look at her, I'm like, oh my God, you're so connected.
Well, we love those confirmations, don't we?
Yes. Yes.
The synchronicity that shows up, and you go, oh, okay, there it is.
I'm not crazy either. Yay.
Yeah. Well, it fits into my story. I'm okay with that. It's because how is your reality organized? Is it useful and helpful, or is the world, a hell of a place to be? And I'm going to suffer for that. So I think it's where your orientation is, and that's just wonderful. Yeah, she was describing to us, and I had her on our other show, how the blue whale's heart is the size of a Volkswagen Beetle bug. And I offer that to people. I said, okay, here's your hand. in your hand is your heart, physical heart, the human heart. It fits in your palm. Now, on the other side, we have a heart that's the size of a Volkswagen Beetle Bug. Now, be in that heart and notice. And when you go to that place, there's no story. There's just being. And I think that's what you're talking about as they were in your way of reflecting them as the consciousness of life there.
And
there's just no story.
What I wish everyone to experience is that feeling of wholeness where there is no place for anger or for judgment, because just like the whales, like you're saying, they have the biggest heart, and it's all unconditional love. And looking at the world as we are one, and we are here to help each other. We're all little souls that are very vulnerable, very pure. We're clueless when we get here, and we have to help each other really get through this with as much dignity and as possible. So that's what I'm hoping for this world. When I see people getting so angry at one another and they lose so much energy, and ultimately we're all the same here, and there is no need in pointing fingers, and nobody is perfect. Mistakes will happen, and mistakes, are they really mistakes or are they messages? When something goes wrong, maybe we've attracted some important life lessons here that we need to look at it this way.
Well, this word comes up. We seem to have a fascination with perfect. For me, that is perfect in the totality, because when we have something that we label a mistake or something's gone wrong, we are not seeing the contrast that's involved and in play. And so having things happen that challenge us, and we can have all kinds of emotional feelings about that, and we can get really involved in that, and they anchor us, those emotions, whatever they might be. We can lose sight of that this is a part of wholeness. And so that is perfection to me. It's like the plate with the crack in it. And I'm always like, whoa, in the totality, look at that divide that's showing up. I mean, I find that, is
I agree
not
with
as a
you.
Negative. Oh,
it's for growth. If it's perfect, if it's truly perfect, we are not going anywhere. We're not growing. You do need to have the cracks exactly to challenge yourself and give you an opportunity to become a better version of yourself. And that's the whole point, I think, of being here and having this experience. It's not easy, but it's meaningful if you want it to be. Otherwise, you can spend your whole life being angry and resentful and mad at everything that's happening to you. Or you can embrace all these challenges and say, my God, let's go for it, And by the time you're on your deathbed, you look back and you're so amazed with your own self and how far along you've come, and it's beautiful.
Well, I totally get that. And I love the idea that when I'm coming to pass over, transition, I will have hindsight. Now, I want that right now, though. I don't want to wait till I get to that point in my journey. I would rather have that appreciation now, which is what you're describing, in seeing the connectiveness. And it's not going to be, because life is a spectrum and everybody's going to have a viewpoint and a place in the spectrum of being that consciousness holds for. But we get to make a choice. We can wait till the end. We cannot even do it this lifetime. You don't even have to believe in another lifetime. You have to believe. It's not about belief. It's about being. And so what is it you're choosing to experience here? Do you like the idea of isolation? Do you like the idea of separateness? And maybe I like those things, but that's what I'm projecting and experiencing. So that falls back to me to go, can I do something different? We want to bring our awareness to our moments now and go, okay, let me shift this around, because in consciousness technologies, there's that malleable time and space. You're in this state like where we are right now, everybody. Just notice that the attachments and the definitions can soften. And I hold that to be true. That's my reality state. And certainly Joanne's, I'm going to say that right, Joanne's position is that it's all part of life, it's the web of life, and that change happens and shift happens, and whatever you think is only what you think, and you can change the thought. But you are powerful in how you think. And that's what we see demonstrated. If you think in terms of lack, if you think in terms of loss, if you think in terms of, I want that and I can't have it, so I'm going to bite you in the back about it, or whatever the setup is, you want to be looking at what you think and stop and ask, did I just hear myself? Now, in this state, what could be different? This is the place it is. This is why people meditate. This is why people reflect. This is why. But what we're adding here is that this is an active state of change possible, because that's the way the quantums tell us. That's the way the science tells us. Anything is just in a moment, and life and our experience of being is just lots of moments. And we dictate based on our biases and prejudices, and we can call them prejudices, which is pretty much what they are, way our setups are in our stories about who we are and how we are in our world. And what Joanne and her friends, definitely her familiarity and her awareness that life comes, and awareness is in many forms at play, feel this, that it's a connection, that it doesn't matter what something looks like, it's what you experience it as and how you feel and what you think of that. Well, that feels nice, Joanne.
It feels wonderful, because here's the next question. When is the end? We say, well, let's wait until the end to reflect. Well, what if the end is today? And right. We have to live as it is today, because we have no idea when it's going to be. So let's be prepared. So I try every day to live like this is all I've got. So let's make it worth it. Let me live to the fullest, and I want no regrets. So if something comes up in my life, I address it right away. I try to stay balanced at every minute of, I'm not perfect either, obviously. We're all growing. But I try hard to be at my best at all time, because I don't want to ultimately disappoint myself. And
well, you're talking about being present, right? Something comes up and you're in the moment of awareness with it to go, oh, okay, let's do something here, right? And I think what you're also addressing is our thing with time. Because what flashed into mind when you said, we don't want to wait till the end, because today it could be it, and how you go, but I'm not ready. I didn't have time to prepare. I don't have time to reflect. And we make...
No time for excuse, obviously. Yeah. We're not in charge.
You're
so let's
one
be
minute, you're
ready.
down the next.
Yeah.
So at some point, that energy goes somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And I love how we have no guarantee over the next moment. So that's a great reason to be present, is because, and we hear this all the time, but to put it into play and make it real can be our challenge if we're not trained to hold self that way, as malleable and.
But the universe is trying to wake us up. The universe, the animals, whoever you have around you send you messages constantly. So you can only deny it for so long before you get really hurt, because the signs are getting bigger and more obvious and more hurtful, because we learn more through pain. So, just for that reason, we should all want to learn quickly, and with very, smallest sign that shows up, you think about the meaning of it and realign yourself. Just look at yourself and see, okay, why did this happen? Well, I was completely out of balance, didn't sleep enough, working too hard. I didn't pay attention to my animals that are waiting patiently for me to give them time. Children, so when they act out, instead of blaming the children or the animals for acting out, well, let's reflect on where is the lack of balance in our situation, and what can I learn from it, and what can I do about it? And we're powerful. There's a lot of things we can do, and it's amazing when just a little shift of thinking and of behaving differently affect everybody else around. You're putting out that new energy, and again, animal or people will heal. Animal or people will die because you've given them permission to let go, because shifted. And I've seen, I've helped a few people die by helping their animals die. And it was really powerful because these people were really, really sick. It happened like a handful of times, I would say, where the people were really sick themselves, but they were hanging on because they had unfinished business, and their animals were part of it. They did not want to let go of their animals, and so the animals were sick, so I could obviously legally help the animals. And these people, as soon as they heard that their animals were at peace, they died. And it's giving me chills even now today. We're so powerful in what we can do here.
Well, I think, I know from my own personal experience, and there's certainly anecdotal information, stories that I hear from clients and experience, except in my father, my brother had had a Labrador come live with my dad. And my dad would walk that dog three times a day, and he lived upstairs, and he would walk downstairs the condo, and then they'd walk a mile up the hillside at their condominium complex. And that Labrador, who was probably good for about 10, 11 years, was 16 years old. And by the time, and my dad had been very ill, and the dog was losing function. They had to carry the dog downstairs to walk with my dad and all this, and I just was like, Dad, and I would talk to the dog and tell him, I know you're here for Dad. I want you to know Dad'll be okay, and you'll be all right. And so the dog and I would have these conversations, and at some point it was just too much for the dog. And I said, Dad, we have to put him down. And so we did. And in 2 weeks, my dad went down, right? And he passed after a week of that. But what was very present in the time that my dad was in a coma before he finally let go was that he and the dog were together. And I said, and I talked to my dad the whole time he was in his coma for 5-6 days, and held his hand and said, okay, you and Hudson, that's the dog's name, you and Hudson, you're there together, you're all right, Dad. And it was very interesting because the moment my dad went into the coma, a neighbor's dog started barking. The whole time Dad's in a coma, I don't hear a dog. The moment I'm holding my dad's hand and he takes his last breath, that dog started barking again. And I was like, okay, I can't have any more confirmation than that. I get chills about it, mentioning it right now. And I am sure that what you and I have described is very common when we allow ourselves to see it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And when our listeners allow themselves to not be invalidated out of their awareness that we are all one, and when that happens over there, they're in the field, it's going to show up over there, and that's real. And it's just in our limited perceptions. Are we open or closed in a state of awareness to what is really present? So.
And not being afraid of what other will think. We already know that the pressure is big in this sad society where people will judge. Well, you don't want those people in your life anyway. So just, let go of that part so you can really be happy with your own self. And we're here. There is a few people that you can relate to. So that's really all we need, I think, to allow ourselves to just be who we are and enjoy it.
What comes to mind when you say that is like, okay, I'm going to just cut my arm off. Okay, I'm going to cut you out of the picture. And there's your arm going. And then, I'm not too crazy about you either. So I'm going to get rid of my foot. And the thing we know that science shows is that phantom pain is real. You ask anyone who's lost a limb, they feel it. And so we are only in our own blindness and short-sightedness to think that we are still not connected to us. And everyone is an extension of us. And if we started to look at it that way, and I don't have to have my hand out to you, I have my opening to you, my invitation to you, and you have all this experience, and I can access that. So, and one thing about your, I noticed you were from Canada. My experience of Canada is always so wealthy to me because it's first generation and second generation immigrants I met a lot. And then there's the First Nation people. And it seems to do this a little more differently about appreciating all the different aspects of people than we have in the U.S. developed because we've been here longer, right? And it's not such an immediate. And we seem to have an intolerance for those new incoming, forgetting conveniently that we were once that. And it's very interesting. So I'm tickled when I saw, oh, I get it. Yeah. And you've got your French that's so present in you. That's wonderful.
And we do need to not focus on our differences, but on our similarities. And I do relate to the Native Americans, the First Nation people tremendously. I've done some past life regressions, and just some things that come to me, and my hair's never been so long. Now I feel like I'm embracing that time when I was a native, and I've got a really long braid. Your physical body kind of goes or embraces it or turns into it. You're a blend of all the previous lives you've had. But I healed my my allergies actually through one of those sessions. I had really bad horse allergies.
Oh, that would be hard.
I love horses. Yeah, I love horses, but I was trying to die during vet school when I did my my rotations with them and at the barn, and I would just completely choke up, and tears would run down. My nose was running. So anyway, I was meditating one time. I was with my mom, and we were just talking deeper and more in our hearts and less in our brains. And I saw this video of me as a Native American and white people trapping or capturing our horses, the wild horses, and all the chaos. And I burst into tears because I lived it. I experienced it. I was there when that happened, and I'm still traumatized today. So when I'm around horses, I'm completely choked up. I'm heartbroken. I cry. Nose is running. All of those things. And so the fact that I became aware of that past life and that traumatic experience has helped me heal. I knew I needed a horse. I needed the physical connection to heal fully. And that's one of the reasons we moved to Florida. We were in Arizona for 11 years, but our time over there was done, mission accomplished, and we needed, all the signs were there to push us to Florida. And we bought a property. I didn't have any horse in mind, obviously, but we bought a property that had a barn. And as soon as we moved in, our next door neighbor, who's a really wonderful lady, comes to me and says, "Oh, I've got your horse. Are you ready?" First conversation, yes, let's do it. So, and this horse was just the horse of my dream. If I had told you physically how I pictured that horse all the time. So he was just wonderful, and he was abandoned. He needed a good retirement home. And so we just were blessed with healing each other for 2 years before he passed, because he was an old guy. But those 2 years were just amazing, and I healed completely. And we had the best time, and he got to be a horse. I just let him be. I let him be a horse, and he would swim in the pond every day, eat the pond salad. We called it, all the plants growing at the bottom, and he just grazed all day long, and he had a blast, and I healed. I healed all my allergies through that process. So.
Well, so if the allergies were stress related, and with the horse, you were able to reconnect to the joy of being that was there before you had the stress, that's what shifted for you. Yeah. And isn't that, see, that's the way it is, that anything is malleable. Yes. And just because it feels so real and solid doesn't mean anything. It just means, oh, okay, that feels real and solid. There's a place where in all the patterns and all the particles and in all the genetics and in all the RNA and in all the air around us, it's just all particles. It's a little bit of light, photons, and the story, the webbing that you talk about, how it holds things together, and it becomes patterns, and it becomes beliefs, and it becomes thoughts, and it becomes feelings, and that any place in that there can be shift. And what a wonderful way to embrace being connected in life and in that web. And how the horse also responded and was nurtured by your connection and the realization of how hard he had worked. And now it was the time to enjoy being free. And that's the gift that one leaves with. Wow, that's a beautiful place. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Science has proven that when we are relaxed, the DNA relaxes too. So the DNA, like you're talking about, is very malleable too. And when we're feeling loved and hugged, our cells in our body release good and healing hormones, and it activates our DNA to heal our bodies. So I want people to be really careful when they receive a diagnosis, because people get so hung up to the word, and they need to let that go if they don't want it, if it doesn't otherwise they're going to be stuck with it. We need to keep a distance from the diagnosis, because yes, it can be healed. And a good friend of my husband actually was diagnosed with end-stage lymphoma, and she was going to die, and the medical community told her there's nothing more we can do. But she was a very special person herself, went home and lived another 40 years. I mean, she healed herself somehow, right. Just a shift of consciousness, decided that that was not hers. She did not want to associate with the disease, with cancer. No, that was not her identity. And God knows, a lot of different shifts, but it happens. It is possible.
Oh, I see. I hear that all the time in being in this kind of work, that it's a matter of how to be in something but not be it. And actually what I felt when you relayed that the doctor said they couldn't do any more for her was, oh, thank God. Because it takes them out of their limited bias, see, their reality set. They do what they're supposed to do. We come into that and go, okay, yeah, that connects. Let me do this to this part. But that's really, that's the extent of it. And I've had to do that certainly with my own health and interacting with the world and medicine and things. And you realize that, whoa, I don't have to play by that rule set. And awareness is always present, and it's where you allow yourself to catch it, right? Because there's nothing wrong with having cancer. What it is it's part of her place in the scheme of her journey of enlightenment, right? And I can have all kinds of feelings about that and go, oh, you poor thing, and be sympathy and empathetic and compassionate and all that stuff. The truth is, it's her choosing on the level of what she's looking to experience and being. I'm not going to judge that. I'm going to go, wow, more power to you. Step into that, step out of it. That's pretty fascinating and the art of being, truly, I think.
Yes, completely. And it's a great opportunity with any disease or any accidents or any challenge in life. It's a great opportunity to look at yourself and see how you can do better. What can you improve? How can you find more balance in your life? And for our animals also, because animals are little sponges and they tend to become sick and share the same physical diseases as their people. Yeah. Very powerful.
Uh-huh. That's morphic resonance right there. And it's not because they have genetic identity the same. It's because they have energetic relationship.
We go through the same life stresses. We're exactly sharing that same energy completely.
Right. Well, we're getting close to our time here. Is there How would you like to leave people with? Is there a wisdom, one wisdom? There's always more than one wisdom, of course. But in the scheme of the web of life, how do we all fit into that, do you think?
Be oneness, be greatness. Mm-hmm. So just be, That's
what you understand from interacting and all this. See, everybody, it's not that hard.
It's simple. Simple, truly.
It really isn't that hard. What you come up against at any time is how we think it has to be a certain way. And
animals are often the best teachers, animals, nature. So when you look at them, how do they do it and do the same? They don't worry about what's going to happen tomorrow, and you have a meeting.
They're about as present as you can get, right?
Yes.
They are being present. They're the best examples we have of that. That's why the whale has no story it's running. It's just being.
And spending time in nature is very cleansing. It is nature and water, just walking in the water to get rid of some toxic energies that you're carrying around, and grounding, which is earthing, laying down on the grass, or just walking barefoot to touch the earth and connect. And just that alone to me is extremely healing, and little exercise to do every day when you're clearing your brain and you're just focusing on being one with nature, and let it teach you where your place.
I can picture people lying down on the grass going, "Ooh, there's bugs. Oh, I don't want to do this." And and for you, in your reality, so I'm going to offer all of us. All right, there's Johanna and John, and she's in relating to them as just being an expression. Okay, so feel her lay on the grass. I'm going to invite you to lay down on the grass, John, and we'll just notice in this moment of what that feels like, to just be part of the whole, that there's no distinctions. Oh, that's a bug. That's nice. And, there's a flower. And, that feels good, too. Oh, feel the grass underneath me and all the little crinkles I'm making. And just feel that. That is real. That is very much a part of her. And thank you for that gift. I'm going to put that on a bumper sticker.
Yes.
You need to make a bumper sticker. So just lie on the grass and feel the sun and feel the breeze and let it be real, and feel yourself let go. Let your distinction of yourself in the form just soften. And notice that it softens into the nature around you. There we go. And that's the web of life. Thank you so much, John.
My pleasure. I'm so grateful we got to connect today, and until the next time.
Until the next time.
Joanne keeps things simple while totally aware of the sheer complexity of dynamics that a physical form can contain. She would like all of us to lie down upon the earth and just be. So go find your patch of grass, make sure no fire ants are present, and lie down. Breathe in and out and feel the earth that you are part of. She would also recommend that you walk in water. Offer no resistance. Visit a no-kill shelter for animals and be present. Do the same at a wild animal park. Support wildlife sanctuaries. Let yourself be moved. Open yourself to the connection that is already waiting to be recognized.
Joanne offers us some simple guidelines to participating in the web of life. Be oneness, be greatness. Animals are the best teachers. Follow the flow of energy for better living and better dying. You know best what's best for you. You can read my blog for this episode 13 at www.janetandbeyond.com on my blog page. For our final thoughts this episode, I am using Be a Tree from the extensive meditation archive at Interlude, an internet retreat. It is a very nice way to finish off our time together.
Tree meditation. Trees can stir us in so many ways. They stand tall and strong. They live long. They embody exquisite balance and attunement with the natural world. They're beautiful. We use them to build our houses, and we burn their wood for warmth. We make furniture from them, and we sit in their shade. As children, we climb in them. We eat their fruits. We scent our homes with their fragrance. They are so quiet, though. We may miss what they have to teach us. Perhaps in order to learn from them, we too must be quiet. Let's try that and see what happens. For the next little while, you are invited to experience life as a tree would. In other words, you would be as wood would be. Perhaps you would be as if you were a fir. A pine would also be fine. A standing position is appropriate for a tree meditation. Sitting will work too. Whether standing or sitting, find a comfortable, stable position. The essence of treeness is rootedness, so allow yourself to connect with the earth. Relax. Breathe slowly and deeply. Let go of your thoughts. They are like birds on the branches of a tree. They come and go, and they really don't concern you. You are undisturbed by them. They are little things and transient. Tree mind is very quiet. Close your eyes. Trees have no eyes. They do not see as we do, so your experience as a tree will be something other than visual. For the moment, though, you will be playing with images in your mind and seeing through your imagination. You will be projecting your consciousness upon a tree that exists in your mind. You've seen many trees and have had interactions one way or another with many trees, so you have a virtual forest in your mind. Pick a tree from among those that live in your memories, or pick one that you create in your imagination. Perhaps you had a favorite tree as a child, or may have one now. See the tree of your choice in your mind's eye. Spend as much time as you like just looking it over. Notice the size of its trunk and branches. See and feel its bark. Does it have leaves or needles? Look at them. Touch them. Notice their texture. Is there a scent? What about blossoms, fruit, or cones? Imagine the way the roots of this tree connect with the earth. When you have the exterior of this tree fully visualized, walk up to it in your mind and put your arms around its trunk. Feel your body against the bark. Feel the solidity of the tree and just relax with the tree. When you feel relaxed and connected, allow yourself to merge with this favored tree. Allow your consciousness to slip inside the tree trunk. You will add to your human consciousness a node of awareness that is tree consciousness. And for the next few minutes, your awareness will be mostly focused on that way of knowing. Imagine that you are the trunk of this tree and its branches, roots, and leaves or needles. Put your mind in each part of the tree. Get a feel for how this tree exists in the world. Feel its movements, the flexing, the swaying, the weight of its limbs, and the strength of its wood. Observe the flow of pitch, the reaching for the sun. Leaves catch the rain and shake in the wind. Growing times and dormant times, each remembered in the rings. You, the tree, are not just what the traveling beings see. You are underground as well. Observe how your roots have grown into the earth. From those early days when you were just a seedling, you have pushed deep into the ground, spreading, clutching, drawing in water and nutrients, finding the spaces under the earth where you can sprout a root, or 100 roots, or maybe 1,000. Cool and moist down there, but rich. You touch the earth. You are of the earth. You serve the earth. In that part of consciousness that is human mind, feel the earth energy drawing up into you. Feel connected, grounded, rooted. You are in touch with the earth. It holds you. It supports you. You are made of its substance, and it gives you life. Shifting back into tree consciousness, feel what it is like to be so wonderfully balanced. You are a weighty thing that grows tall because you respond to gravity. Without balance, a tree would fall, but you have persisted. You have made adjustments to circumstances, though. In fact, you are not still like a stone. You move. In the warmth of the sun, you expand, and in the cold, you contract. When the wind blows, you shake and sway, and this tree mind is right now going to teach your human mind what that feels like. Allow your human mind to permit very small movements in your human body. You have been quite still for a human, but not perfectly still. You move a little bit as gravity pulls on you. You make small adjustments, probably without thinking about them. Be more aware of those movements just now. Don't resist them. Allow your body to move and adjust so that you are as comfortably upright as you can be. Your head rises to the sky as if you are a plant drawn to the sun. You adjust your spine just a little side to side, forward and backward. In the movement you find comfort and you grow a little taller. Take a few moments to sway just very gently. Allow small movements to flow. Don't restrict yourself. Let your trunk and limbs move as if touched by a light breeze. Your body is designed to support your limbs, so there is no need for tension. Muscles relax without weakening. You are strong and flexible, and lengthening is your natural tendency. Parts of you may bend, but you always come back to center. This is the tree dance. Now find again the stillness of your tree on a windless day. Perfect rest while remaining upright. Your tree would like to show you silence, patience, and the lesson of being without doing. This tree mind is, if you can imagine it, sightless. No eyes, yet it knows the sun. No ears, yet it vibrates with the world around it. No nerves, no brain, no mental images, no plans, just the tendency to keep growing and sprouting and swaying, to draw up from the soil and to bloom when the time is right, to drop greenery when that time is right, to start over each year. It has no calendar or date book, no to-do list. It just does what it needs to do when conditions are right, and it stays right there doing it year after year. Time passes with no sense of time passing. The tree is always in the now. No worries, no regrets, no plans. Humans rush about. They are born, grow old, and die, and the tree lives on. It persists in the cold and dark times. It lives a simple life, though it is large and complex. As you return to the busier world of human awareness, take with you from your tree encounter the strength to endure, the wisdom to respond to events in harmony with the ways of nature, and the flexible calm of your tree friend. Carry with you hope that comes from attunement to the cycle of life and peace drawn from these quiet moments of introspection.
Joanne's book, Animal Teachings from Haley's Angels Methods, is available on Amazon and at her website, www.haleysangels.com, where you can contact her for more information about her offerings and creating your connection in the web of life. Thank you for joining me here at Journeys to Enlightenment with Janet. A new episode is released every 2 weeks. Any questions or thoughts or guests you'd like to suggest, you can email me directly at janetandbeyondpodcast@outlook.com. For more information about all the elements that make up each episode, they are on my podcast page at my website, www.janetandbeyond.com. While there, you will also find information about my other podcast show, Conscious Conversations with Joan and Janet, and all about my work with clients. You can sign up to receive my regular weekly blog, Life in the Beyond, Journeys into Enlightenment. If you're looking for other regular opportunities to sit in heart-centered awareness with myself and others, you can join us in my Fuzzy Photons playground groups I offer on Thursdays. Live interactive space via Zoom video conferencing. You can follow each episode of this podcast series on my YouTube channel, Journeys into Enlightenment with Janet Barrett. Till the next time, notice what feels different right in this moment. It is real, and it can last a lifetime.